Get some of these young kids.
Welcome back to The Gloves Are Off. My guests are getting along fabulously. Let's see how well you get along when we get into this next debate. This is Offside Onside. The topic today is the Stanley Cup the hardest trophy to win? Offside or onside? What do you think, Paul? You go first.
I can't say it's the hardest one to win. I think it's probably one of the most demanding one to win. But I think when you're going for a championship and you lose one game, you're done. I think that would have to be one of the hardest championships.
So something maybe like the NCAA's March Madness, where you
football
lose and
or in the NFL, one game, one Sunday, and you're done. Right? You look at us with our record 11-0, but we could have easily lost 8 games and still win a championship. Other sports, you don't have that luxury to lose 8 games or whatever. You lose, you're done. I think that trophy would be hard to win.
I even find baseball, even with like the World Series, you know, how many teams get in. It's not too many teams that get in, plus, you know, you only have that best of 5 series to start off, and then you have 2 best of 7s, you know, or they're all best of 7s.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But you still lose a game. You know, you can still lose a game, come back, and then put a different, have a football game or basketball. Your roster on that court, that's it, that's all. I mean, they got to go out there, make it happen. Your bench in and out. I think that one game, I think that adds to a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and there's no room for error. I think a hockey game, there is stress, the whole 9 yards, but you still have that next game to say, you know what, I'm going to switch my goal. I'm going to switch D. I'm going to switch. My defensive coverage will be different and so on. I would, myself personally, I think that one game would be stressful.
Yeah, but you brought up the part about it being maybe the most physically demanding
no doubt.
To win.
No doubt.
I mean, you talk about literally just the contact. I mean, because initially I would say, all right, well, you talk about a sport like basketball. You know, if a guy were to run his mucker into the court and get scarred up, he'd probably miss, who knows, 2 or 3. But you've got guys like, you know, how tough, LePerrier tough. The guy just gets a puck in the mud. And
they go with the cage the next game.
You miss a game, you got a cage on, and you're right back in it, right?
Bob Gainey. Everybody remembers those both separated shoulders.
Sure.
I mean, you know, to go out there and still throw the body, I think it's demanding, and that's because guys do play hurt. If there is sports, football, no doubt, but hockey, guys will play hurt.
Oh, yeah. I remember I think it was Jason Smith with the Oilers. I think he had like a broken leg, and he would do the injections just, you know, so he could still skate. Like, that's the difference, I guess, between maybe hockey and some of these other sports are, you know, you're gliding. You know what I mean? It's not like the physical wear and tear where you have to keep, you know, you're running, or you have to take these different cuts and stuff where some of the, you know, you can still kind of play a little banged up. And
so statistically speaking, Stanley Cup, not that difficult.
But well,
it's difficult.
If you were to ask the Maple Leafs if it's difficult, they'd probably tell us a different story. But I think demanding. It's still a hard trophy. There's no doubt.
Sure.
There's,
we're not
you know, a guy like Jean Rattel. You know, I know it's my days, but Jean Rattel, his whole life, a heck of a hockey player, and never got to play in a final, right?
Yeah.
Or win a Stanley Cup, right?
That's actually a good point too. You talk about the longevity, because how many guys, when they actually retire, I guess Adam Foote would be a good one, because he's most recently, he had a 19-year career, and he's got 2 rings. You would think in 19 years, in comparison, maybe you look at a CFL, right? A lot of those guys, when they retire, they might go out with 2 or 3 rings in that amount of time. Whereas you can have a guy like Adam Foote, who's got a 19-year career, and he's lucky to have 2. And think about how many guys retire without.
Exactly. Or without even like getting to a Stanley Cup.
Without even making a run for it.
Exactly. But that's a lot of sports too. You know what I mean? Like with baseball, like going back to there, like how many of those guys, like look at Roy Halladay. How many years with the Jays didn't make it to the playoffs, gets in next year, like last year, and has like almost like a perfect game. You know what I mean? And it goes with the Phillies, and you know he was a couple games away from getting to his first World Series and maybe a championship.
A team sport, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you can have the best players, but it doesn't mean you're going to win, right? I think you know, everything has to click, and unfortunately some do and some don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, for those of you out there who things are clicking for you in your sporting career, we have a new feature coming to the sports department at Newcap Television. It's called the Superstar Next Door. We'd like to tell you more about it. So if you are interested, please email us at superstar@newcap.ca. Maybe there's somebody living right next door to you who has earned superstar status. If so, we'd love to hear from you and tell your story. Stay tuned. Our guest has a chance to sound off coming up after the break.
Good job, Paul.